This morning, I get to talk to two champions. I get to talk to a coach that just won a men's boys basketball national champion. And then I get to talk to a coach that's won back to back Section 3 titles. And I'm going to ask him what it was like to coach a local high school state champion. That and much more this morning here on the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch. So stay tuned. Welcome this morning to the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch. Thanks for tuning in this morning. I'm your host, as always, the coach, Rocky Crigliano. The guys are out and about today. I can't get them all on the show. I promise you, at some point in time, we will get the entire crew here on the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch. We'll get everybody back. This morning, we got a fun show for you this morning, another local show here on Sports Watch. In just a little bit, we'll talk to the men's boys basketball coach at Mohawk Valley Community College, Coach Harlan. Fuller will join me. He's fresh off a national championship. We'll talk to Coach in a little bit, probably about 10 after. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk to the head women's bowling coach here at Rome. We'll talk to Coach Bryan Rondeau. The girls won back-to-back Section 3 titles. And we're going to talk to him about what it was like to coach a state champion. That and more here at the bottom of the hour. If you're tuning in on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, you have any questions for the coaches this morning, please, as always, put your comments in there. The playback will be up on all social media sites. It'll also be up on iHeart Radio, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Some more changes coming to the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch and the Rock Pile, so stay tuned for more of that. If you've been watching March Madness like I have, I'm going to say I'm very, very, very disappointed so far in the tournament. We haven't really had that real true upset yet. McNeese State was the 12. We've had the 10 seeds. Arkansas yesterday was good, but I thought the game so far, the tournament, and I'm not being biased here, I thought it was Gonzaga, who as Coach Kelvin Sampson of Houston said last night, Gonzaga was poorly seeded as an 8 seed. I know they had 7 or 8 losses, and I'm not saying it because I'm a Zags homer. But they lost a lot of close non-conference games, and they were some big non-conference games that in the past they've won. But if you watch that game last night, if you're a basketball fan, that felt like either an Elite Eight game, Final Four type game. Zags battled at the end. I really thought they were going to pull it out. This is the first year in a long time that I've went complete chalk in my bracket. I had McNeese in the first round. I did have some 10 seeds. I had a few other teams, but I got the 4-1 seeds in the Final Four. I've never done that ever, I don't think. Normally I ride with like Tennessee's and Kansas. I was going to pick the Johnnies. I was going to ride with them because I really thought that the Johnnies had a chance. But I think the piece with St. John's that drew me not to pick them going too far is they can't shoot the basketball. They have no shooters on that team at all. They play really good defense. They get points in transition off their defense. That was one of the keys. But how about Rick Pitino? But how about John Calipari? I mean, here's a guy that a lot of people don't like. He's won everywhere he's been. He didn't really have probably the career that he thought he was going to have at Kentucky down the stretch. Arkansas started the year 0-5, I think. 0-5, 0-6. And a lot of people were saying, well, he's not the right fit at Arkansas, blah. Well, they got healthy late in the year and they started playing some good basketball. And here they are in the NCAA tournament. They're going to the Sweet 16. So I think that's a really good story. St. Mary's out of the West Coast Conference is still alive. We'll see if any of the games today. About Michigan, right? I'm not a big Michigan basketball fan, but I'll root for him. But the job that Dusty May's done at Michigan in year one after where they were a year ago, I think is another great story. I'm going to run through some of these scores. Auburn, 82-70. I think Auburn is the most vulnerable 1 seed of the 4. Houston, as I said last night, 81-76 over Gonzaga. Arkansas, 75-66 over St. John's. Tennessee and Rick Barnes, a lot of people have Tennessee going to the Final Four. They beat UCLA 67-58. The dream season of Drake that won 31 games, they fall last night to Texas Tech 77-64, and BYU advances again. I did have BYU winning 2 games. They beat Wisconsin 91-89, Purdue over McNeese 76-62, and then, as I said last night too, Michigan 91-79 over Texas A&M. When you look through some of those, I think the job Bruce Pearl's done, I think this is probably the best team Pearl's had in a long time. I think they're the most vulnerable of the ones. I think Duke is with Cooper Flagg playing. Cooper Flagg looked as good as he normally does. Didn't look like the ankle was bothering him too much. I think Duke with Flagg, I think, gets to the Final Four. And then I watched Houston last night. I haven't seen a lot of Houston because they're another team where every year, at least the last 4 or 5 years, they've been a 1 or 2 seed and they get beat by somebody. I don't see anybody beating them till they get to the Final Four. They're really good defensively. Cryer last night, I know, played out of his mind and knocked down a lot of shots and I think beat Gonzaga. But they're really physical. They can guard. They can get out in transition. I think they're really good. And then I think Florida's the best team in the country. Now, I picked Duke to win it all. I have all the 4 seeds, and I have Duke playing Florida in the national champ. And the reason why I picked Duke is I think Flagg's the best player in the country. So this is like the first year, and I'm not a Duke homer at all by any means. This is the first year that I picked the best player to win it all. I think Florida's the best all-around team. I think Houston's the best defensive team. I think Auburn's the best team that has the most leadership for Bruce Pearl. They can win it all. Any 4 of those teams. I think Rick Barnes' team, the 2 seed, can win it all. We'll see what Sparty does today. A lot of good games scheduled today, another day. And I always say this tournament for basketball fans, by the time Sunday night rolls around, because tonight by about, 11:30, this thing will probably be done, we need a break. I've watched basketball Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'll watch it all day today. We'll tip off with UConn and Florida. We'll see if Danny Hurley's team can pull their stunner off against Florida. Baylor, Duke today's at 2:40. The Fighting Illini, Kentucky, they're at 5:15. Listen, if the Fighting Illini get hot, they're as good as anybody too. They just haven't really played well most of the season. St. Mary's out of the West Coast Conference. I picked them the first round, but unfortunately I picked them to lose to Alabama. But if Alabama shoots the ball really well, I think Alabama can beat anybody. If they don't shoot the ball well, this could be a tough matchup for them today against St. Mary's. St. Mary's is really physical up front, and they'll try to slow Alabama's down. So it'll be that up-tempo pace against the slow-down half-court pace of St. Mary's. Colorado State, they beat Memphis. That was an upset in the first round, but Memphis was out one of their key players. They'll play a Maryland team who's playing really good basketball right now. That's one of the night games. Ole Miss, how about the job that Chris Beard has done? I don't know if anybody wants to talk about Chris Beard. I know there are a lot of, he got himself in a little bit of trouble when he was over at Texas Tech, but all the guy's done is won basketball games. And if I was Indiana, I know he didn't get the job, but I had said if I'm Indiana, there's 2 calls that I make, or I said 3 calls that I make. One of them was to Brad Stevens, who Brad Stevens isn't leaving the NBA. The second call I would have made was to Steve Alford. I'm really not sure why Steve Alford doesn't get the call. I know some of the guys on TV were talking about it. I was trying to listen to Dan, what's his name, Dan Dakich. He was kind of running through why, because he's got some ties to Indiana, of why Steve Alford isn't getting the call. And then the third call I said was to Chris Beard. And Rick Pitino in an interview on ESPN said the same thing. He goes, if I'm Indiana, I make 1 phone call, and that's to Chris Beard. And what he's doing at Ole Miss in year 1, he's got him in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and they're good. They can beat Iowa State today, so that'll be a good game. And then how about Pitino's kid, Richard Pitino? New Mexico, winners of the Mountain West Conference, and they're really good. They're without 2 of their best players that were first-round picks, second-round picks in the NBA. They're playing without them all season. Here they are, 27-7. So that game's tonight at 8:40. I just don't know if they're going to be physical enough to rebound the basketball enough against Michigan State. And then the nightcap game at 9:40. I'm a big Tommy Lloyd fan. He's a longtime Gonzaga assistant. They'll take on Oregon tonight at 9:40. So some good games, another fun day of basketball. But in the meantime, we're going to talk more basketball here with Coach Fuller here in just a minute. Let me see if we got him on. How are you, my friend?
Hey, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful.
Listen, I appreciate you taking the time to come on with me this morning, especially on a Sunday morning.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Coach, I want to talk to you. This was, I believe, this was your fourth season at MV as the head coach, and I want to talk to you about your time from when you took over the program, which MVCC's always had a rich tradition of basketball here locally or in the area. What's it been like for you from when you first got this job until now? How would you assess where you think the program's at in your short time?
Well, as you said, I was fortunate when I got here. Coach St. Croix had done a great job, building this program up, and they had a few great seasons leading up to my time taking it over as well. But when I interviewed here, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it was evident when I got on campus that all of the resources were here to chase a national championship and ultimately win one. Our administration, like just the administration here, our athletic director, everything was kind of in place. So I kind of saw that, and I thought we really had a foundation to go after it here. Certainly, that first year just had about a month to build the team, but I thought we really got some good momentum. And then going into year two, we were able to get to that Elite Eight. We had an injury. Our starting point guard from this year actually was the starting point guard on that team. But he tore his ACL right before the Elite Eight game there for us 2 years ago. So, it's kind of been positive momentum. We had a solid season last year. Again, unfortunate with a few. You have to have a little bit of luck for sure to stay healthy. Um, but this year, kind of all the pieces came together. We had a veteran group, a few older guys that really helped lead our team, mixed in with some young talent locally from the Syracuse area. Andre Pash is one guy that comes to mind, a 6'8", 6'9" center who was really special for us all year. So, it's been quite the journey here these last 4 years, but, we're excited to kind of put it together finally this year.
Coach, how much is the experience you had coming over to MV? And I know you spent some time at Siena. I believe you were over at was it Mount St. Mary's as well. You guys got to the NCAA tournament at Iona, but how much of that experience helped you, and how much of that did you bring with you?
I mean, I think it's huge. It's I've been fortunate to work for a few really great coaches. Coach Carmen Massarillo at Siena, and Jamie and Christian at Mount St. Mary's and Siena. So having those guys, has been huge for my career. Jamie and Christian, someone I still keep in touch with every day. He's kind of helps me, a mentor for me, and it's kind of helped me build my coaching philosophy over the years. But I think it's more just kind of about the culture. I was fortunate to work with some great coaches to see what it's like to have a winning culture. We were able to win a couple of championships at Siena, as you said, and there's kind of a blueprint for it, in my opinion. There's a type of student athlete you need to have in order to build successful teams. There's certainly a level of support you have to have, from your administration. So I think for us, for me personally, I've been able to, like, as I said, I've been able to work with some really great people that have helped me become, I think I'm still learning every day, but, I think they've helped me become the coach I am today.
And Coach, let's talk about the tournament run. In the championship game, you had a tough one before that against Minnesota. Was it Saint? What is it, Coach? Minnesota Saint Community and Tech College? Is that who it was?
Yes, yeah, Minnesota State Technical College. Yes.
So you guys had a really good game against them before taking on Herkimer College, and I want to get into that in a minute here because Coach Matt Lee's is a friend of mine. He's done a great job over there at Herkimer. Tough game before that. Talk to us a little bit about that game. I think it was 92-90, Coach. You guys won by a couple?
Yeah, just unbelievable game. Probably one of the best games I've been a part of as a coach. Obviously, I can say that now because we were fortunate enough to win that one. But Minnesota State comes out. I think they hit about 16 threes in that game. Unbelievably well-coached team, just flying up and down the floor. They had unbelievable talent across the board. We were fortunate to be able to kind of stay side by side with them till the end. And then Jameer Smith, as I talked about him a few minutes ago, he's able to knock a shot down from about 15 feet with about 1 second remaining that put us in the championship game. So that was huge.
And then talk to us too about the atmosphere for the championship game. And as I said, Matt Lee's been on with me numerous times. I played with Matt back in the day, and the job that he's done at Herkimer College. Just talk to us about the environment there and how big that game was.
Yeah, Matt Lee obviously has done a phenomenal job at Herkimer. I was fortunate enough to play against him when I was a player at Cobleskill back in my junior college days, and Coach Matt Lee was the head coach there then. Longevity, for him, and just really impressive career that he's had. But yeah, that championship game, the environment leading up, I think when the tournament bracket came out, I'm sure Coach Lee received some similar text messages. Everybody's, texting us saying, well, it's going to be Herkimer MV in the championship. And, I'm sure both of us kind of had that same reaction where it's like, we got to get through these, a few really tough games before we can get there. But leading up to that, one of the better environments, I've been around, just unbelievable support. I know we had, a few hundred fans make the trip each day, to Herkimer for those games. Just electric environment. Herkimer obviously has their set of fans there as well, but you couldn't really hear yourself in that gym. But just an amazing environment for our players, and it just a lot of fun to be a part of.
And Coach, you mentioned Jameer Smith, that played for you, but you had some special. This was a special team. I think all coaches have that idea when you're in the off season. You got a chance to do something special. But talk to us too about this team. And first, I want to just ask you, recruiting wise, I know it's different at the junior college level. Talk to us. What goes involved with you with recruiting? How do you sell MVCC and your roster? You did have some local kids from the area on there as well.
Yeah, certainly recruiting is different. Did a ton of that at Siena in my last few years there. But it's really, to me, it's all about relationships. So, I'm able to use a lot of the relationships that I've built over the stretch of time, whether I was at Mount St. Mary's or Siena. There's different relationships, obviously, with the levels. So it's a different kind of recruiting. But, again, those relationships really hold strong. Coming into the season, I was excited bringing Jalen Bradbury back. Obviously, he had a great year last year. And Isaiah Earl, who was, incredible for us, especially down the stretch this year. Both those guys were all conference and all region players last year. But we were fortunate, with St. Rose, unfortunately for St. Rose, with the school shutting down. But Alex Barnhill, was there last year. He's a kid I've had a relationship with since he was about 13 years old. So when that school shut down, we were able to get him over here to Mohawk Valley. And, similar, Andre Pasha was another one that was, he was a scholarship kid out of high school. He had some opportunities with some Division II schools, but, he was excited to kind of chase the opportunity to get a Division I scholarship at some point. So we were able to kind of get him here. It really goes down the line. So many different pieces and a lot of different guys sacrificing, their personal accolades to be part of, to chase something special. But yeah, that's been huge for us. I mean, Mohawk Valley, to be honest, though, it sells itself in a lot of ways. I hadn't been there since 2007. When I was a player, when I took this interview, and you walk around the campus, it's really a 4-year school feel, at a 2-year school. Beautiful facilities, state of the art field house, beautiful fitness center, and then I think the academic support system that we have there. In our athletic department, especially, Brittany Mexico does a great job with that. She's meeting with our student athletes weekly. Our housing, we have on-campus housing, beautiful dorms that our student athletes are able to come to. And again, I think there's kind of a vibe at Mohawk Valley. There's a lot of people when I started walking around campus interviewing here, it was a lot of people that had been here 10, 15, 20 years, and I don't think you see that a ton in a lot of junior colleges. So I think when I saw that and kind of saw all the pieces that were put together here, we saw this, you could really build something special.
And Coach, what goes into this roster now? Because I'm sure here in the offseason you'll have to sit down and look at this roster, and you have to see who's coming back, who's gone, and what's the offseason like look for you guys?
I mean, to be honest, it's going to be a complete rebuild. A lot of, Andre Pasha, for example, is only a freshman, but, he's got to go on to the scholarship level and, kind of further his career. We lose all of our starters. We lose Kai Pasha, who was an All-American last year at TC3 at his last school. Jalen's going to go on. I think we probably only bring back 2 or 3 guys. So, that's the challenging but exciting part at the junior college level. I love the recruiting piece. I love getting out there. I'm actually in Binghamton right now at the state tournament. I do a little bit of color commentary for the NHFS network here, so that's a lot of fun. But I'm obviously able to see games over the course of 3 days. So the recruiting trail is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure, at the junior college level. But there's a lot of talented student athletes in New York and beyond. So excited to continue to stay out here and build another talented roster.
So, Coach, has it sunk in yet? What's changed for you? I'm sure you get a chance to walk around the area and people coming up to you saying congratulations. I know we've all followed, the journey in the season, but what's it been like for you? If you actually had time to sit down, take a deep breath, and say, "Geez, we just won a national championship."
I'll be honest. It's been really, really incredible. The amount of one of the greatest things kind of about this. Obviously, as you start getting down the stretch, you just want it so bad for the kids. You want it them. They've worked so hard since August to have this opportunity. And then for it to finally come to fruition, I get so many messages from our players every day, just how grateful they are to have been part of something like this, and really just the relationships they've built with each other. It's just all of that stuff kind of coming together has been really amazing. So it's really been exciting, but really another great part about it's just been the alumni base at Mohawk Valley. We've had a Scott Snyder, who's an alumnus at Mohawk Valley, put together a group of guys. He had about 15 guys that have played on the Mohawk Valley teams. I think there were a few guys from like the 1980s and early 90s making the trip up and saying how much it meant to them to have a team, win this championship. And, it's been really, really great to kind of see, how much it's meant to a lot of people that maybe you don't understand in the moment, how much it means. So I have moments where I wake up in the morning and it takes a few minutes to kind of set in, but it's really been special. Doing it here at Mohawk Valley has just really been incredible.
Coach, last question I have for you. I don't know. Hopefully, you've had time to watch some of the March Madness here from Thursday, and then tonight will be another long day as well. I think my wife's tired of me sitting on the couch watching basketball. But who do you like to get to the Final Four?
That's a tough one. I'll be honest. I had this is completely true, and I'll send you a graphic. You don't believe me. I had a perfect bracket through the first day, and into the second day, and I was sending it to my guys, in the group chat. I was feeling pretty good about it. Final Four is going to be tough to pick that. I had St. John's, regrettably. Huge Rick Pitino fan. I was sad to see them go down, but also excited for Cal Perry to kind of silence some of the doubters that he's had as he made that move to Arkansas. Really like Houston, really like Duke. Looking to see Cooper Flagg's been, him being healthy is obviously going to be huge down the stretch, but would love to see Calvin Sampson get it done, the way he does things defensively and so physical and gritty and tough. I really think they have a chance to make a run at it.
Yeah, Coach, this is the first time that I'm a diehard Gonzaga fan. I thought they were underseeded. I thought that game last night felt like it was like an Elite Eight Final Four type game, but this is the first year that I've went chalk in the Final Four because I think all the one seeds are truly the best teams left. I think Auburn's probably the most vulnerable team, but man, Houston's physical. They're big up front. They can defend. They're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I don't know if it's the NIL that's doing this, which is a whole nother topic, but I don't know if it's the NIL that's doing it, but you're seeing a little bit more with those top, 5 to 10 teams in the country. They're kind of breaking away, I think, a little bit in regards to talent. Obviously, you saw the SEC this year, how talented they were top to bottom, just unbelievable conference. But like you said, I think when you're Houston, when you defend like you do, you make every possession is difficult for the opposing team. You give yourself a chance, and Calvin Sampson with his experience, I think he's going to have a chance to make a run at it. Always sad to see Mark Few go down, though. I mean, Gonzaga is always one that has a chance. I saw the stat. I can't remember how many Sweet 16s in a row he's been to, but it was something unbelievable. So always kind of surprising to see them go down. But as you said, tough matchup for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was 9 straight for Gonzaga, and it was 5 straight for Houston last night into the Sweet 16. So, Coach, listen, let's do it again. If I do a Sweet 16 Elite Eight show, you're welcome. Maybe I'll reach out to you, see if you got any time to come on and talk some hoops.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Listen, I appreciate you having me on, and great opportunity to get on here and talk to you.
No, I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks a lot, and congrats on a great season.
Absolutely. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy those games today too.
Thanks, Coach.
Uh,
So that was Coach Harlan Fuller, the MVCC men's basketball coach. And, some crazy stats I was looking at. They were 29-1 overall this past season. Their only loss was to Herkimer College earlier in the year. And they were 13-1 in conference play. Then they went on a great run in the tournament to win a national championship. And it's tough at that junior college level because you only get kids maybe 1 year, 2 years, and then they're off. Hopefully that, they can go play somewhere else. And I was going to actually get into the player development for him, but I just didn't have enough time to talk to Coach. So we'll see. I'm debating on whether or not I have time to do, whether it's going to be maybe an Elite Eight show, or maybe what we'll do is have a Final Four show. We'll break down the games. I just haven't had all the time in the world here with my own kid schedule, with my daughter's busy with soccer, and she'll be playing softball. My son's just finishing up basketball, going into baseball here pretty soon. So it's been crazy on my front. But again, I want to get into, before we talk to Coach Bryan Rondeau, he is the head women's bowling coach here in Rome, and the run that the bowling team has been on here in Rome is unbelievable. And I don't think they get enough credit. Mylie Weyant, for the girls this year, won a state championship. So we'll talk to Coach about her and this team, and just the longevity of bowling here in Rome. And bowling's probably, I would say, other than soccer, I'm learning soccer just from watching as much as I've been watching with my daughter. As my little one always says to me, Dad, you always coach Aiden sports. Well, it's because I played basketball, baseball, and football, so it's a little bit easier. I don't have a clue how to coach soccer. So I always tell her I can't coach soccer. I did coach her in basketball this year, which was a lot of fun. But I think bowling's the other sport. Like bowling, hockey, like I know when I have on when I talk hockey here in Rome, it's like I can't really break it down as much as I can break down some of the other sports, but they're a lot of fun to learn. It's fun to learn about some of the other sports that don't get a lot of publicity. So I'm happy to talk to Coach. He was on with me last year. So I'll talk to him here in just a few minutes. Again, if you're following on all the social media platforms, you got any comments, you want to say good morning, put it in there. Say, hey, good morning, Coach. You got any questions, comments, feedback? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The playback will be on all the social media channels. It'll also be on Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Apple Podcast as well. Again, thanks to Coach Fuller for coming on here with me in just a little bit. Great interview. If you missed it, I'll make sure I play it back. So without further ado, I think we have Coach on. Let's go to Coach now. Coach, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear this morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing great. Good to have you on again. And I know we spoke last year, and I was just telling the group, I said, go easy on me because there's like maybe 3 or 4 sports that I really can't break down like some of the other sports. Bowling is one of them, hockey's another one, and soccer, which I'm learning through my kids. So I said, go easy on me this morning, but I appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
So, Coach, talk to us a little bit about, I was talking about the bowling team in general here in Rome, the run that this team's been on over the years. I know when I had you on last year, the records were through the roof, and it was like, oh my goodness, they're like 90 something and 4 something crazy. You guys are coming off back-to-back sectional titles on the girls' side. Talk to us about how special, not only the team is, but the bowling program in general has been here in Rome.
Yeah, actually, with capping off our season right now, since I took over in 2017, we're 105-2. So yeah, the seasons each year we have. I think that I've been lucky to have some good quality bowlers coming from Rome. The junior program has certainly helped out in that regard, and it seems like every year, when I lose a senior or something like that, I have other ones that step up and, go from like mid-level to, the top of the cream of the crop, and then this year, Mylie Weyant did that for us this year with, for the first time ever winning the individual state title. Um, so yeah, each year it's just, I lose a couple, but then all of a sudden I gain some, and then a couple players get better and better, and then during matches and throughout the season, they just, they all get along and they all have fun, and um, they impress me, week in and week out.
And coach, I think in the state tournament, I think the team finished sixth, and I think you had some young ones that placed. I think I saw Sophia Parker, who's only an eighth grader, and then I know you had junior Sophia Tosti that placed as well. But talk to us about some of the girls. On this team, you got a lot of young ones as well. But I believe, coach, you guys finished sixth.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we finished sixth, out of the entire sections of New York State. We just couldn't have that big game that we needed, for everyone to come together. But you got bowlers all over New York State that, we've never seen before. Or their talent level is, you know, we don't know what to expect when we do it, and we just tried it. We came out and did the best we could, and yes, Sophia Parker, she's a eighth grader. She did awesome this season. She blew me away. She blew a lot of people away. Even coaches from other schools, when we had matches, they're like, "Who is this?" And I've actually had a couple of them say, "How are you so lucky to get these good bowlers?" But yeah, next year is going to be tough. I'm going to have 4 seniors next year, and that you know it may be a rebuilding after that, but you know 4 seniors, and they're all 4 of them are right there at the top. Um, all 5 actually of my main girls actually qualified to participate in the state finals. However, the last 2 spots were for an alternate position if somebody was to be ineligible or there was an injury and stuff. So I actually had 5 girls that could have participated in the states, last weekend. Yeah, Sophia Parker, awesome. Toasty, Sophia Iglesias Tosti, she's going to be a senior next year. I remember having that conversation with you, um, and yeah, she's been great, picking up her game, and we got, my senior this year was Olivia Holuska. She had a great year, and um, and then I have Izzy, Koteri. She did great. She's a junior too, so she's going to be in that crew that's going to be leaving next year. And yeah, and then like I said, Mylie Weyant was, absolutely killed it this year. She had she set the bar high. She had her own, goals, and she told me that she had a goal for her average for the season, and when she had like missed it by like a tenth of a point, she goes, "Oh no, I want it to be higher." Like, so she ended up averaging 216 for the season, and her goal was 225, and I'm like, that was a great goal. However, I think you crush it because I'm trying to find scores in the past years of, what was the highest averages in TVL, and because I feel like that's really high for, women's bowling, and so yeah, this was a great season, um, and yeah, finishing sixth, it was respectable. Um, they did well. Like I said, we just didn't get that game that we needed, but they all, you know, had fun and did what they needed to do.
Yeah, and I think for I think I saw some of the stats. I think in the state tournament, I think she averaged like 229 and change, and I think she rolled 230 or better with a game high, I think of 265.
Yes.
Talk to us about how special she was. I know you said she's a junior. You got Sophia Tosti coming back, who's a junior. You mentioned some of those other girls, but talk to us a little bit about Mylie and what makes her special.
Like I said, she had set goals at the beginning of the season, and she was really focused each week. And at the end of the season, when she hit her goal, well, which I thought was her goal, um, I was super excited for her. Um, she seemed slightly disappointed, but for that to be, uh, an even higher goal that she had, well, I thought she had set the lower one, but she still crushed it. Um, and yeah, I mean, she's determined. She has fun. Sometimes she gets into it a little bit more and lets her emotions get in the way, but you try to settle her down, and she gets back focused and gets with the team and does what she needs to do. She absolutely was amazing at State. Um, I was actually coaching the second Section 3 team, so I didn't get to actually coach her. But they were on the pairs next to us, so I got to watch her, and um, she just seemed like she was enjoying herself and actually having fun. And that's the that's the biggest thing that I've noticed is you get your emotions in the way, and it affects your game, and it affects your teammates around you. And when you're all having fun, you throw the ball better. The outcome's better. Um, and you're all there for one reason, and obviously to win. But you're there to bowl and enjoy your teammates and have fun and enjoy um, the opportunity that you're actually made it to the state finals.
So, Coach, here in Rome, again, I'm not familiar with it on the bowling side, but is there lower levels? Do we have modified? Is there JV varsity? Is it one team?
No, yeah, it's just one team. Years back, there used to be a JV squad, but yeah, there's nothing. We're just a varsity squad. Like I said, we kind of grab a lot of the bowlers from the junior program on Saturday mornings at Kingpin. Um, and yeah, I wish there was some lower levels, but that's the sport that we're in, and um, this. I don't want to say the sport's dying, but the participation's kind of down all across the board. So yeah,
Well, I think the 105-2, I think that's what you said, is impressive, and I'm always happy to have you on here. I always say that I think there's a lot of teams in this area that don't get enough publicity, and I think you guys are one of them. So I appreciate you again coming out with me this morning and this year, and I know we'll do it again next year. But I appreciate it, Coach. Great season.
absolutely. Thanks so much, and hopefully we'll talk to you next season.
Absolutely, Coach. Thanks, and have a good rest of the weekend.
Yes, you too. Thanks so much.
So 105-2. Wow, that's the record for the bowling team, which I think is unbelievable. And coaches came on with me last year. Um, talk about the team. And again, I didn't know there's no lower levels and all that type of stuff. But you had a great team, and sounds like they'll be good again next year. Some young kids coming up, which will help the program out as well. So congratulations to the coach, and congratulations to Mylie on winning a state championship. And there was a lot of state finishers that finished in the top 10. So congratulations to all Rome bowlers. All right. Well, listen, I'm out of time here this morning. I want to thank Coach Fuller for coming on this morning and talking MVCC boys basketball, fresh off a national championship. So thanks to Coach Bryan Rondeau for coming on to talk about the RFA girls sectional title, and Mylie Weyant for winning the state title. I'll let you know on the next show next week if we're going to do a March Madness show or not. We'll definitely look to do one over the next couple weeks. More good things coming on the Rock Pile and the Mohawk Valley Sportswatch, so make sure to stay on Facebook and then follow me at www.therockpilerome.com for all episodes. So On behalf of the entire crew here at the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch, Coach Pags, Coach Medicis, and the Stat Man, I appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. Everybody have a good rest of the weekend. Watch a lot of college hoops today. I'm out. I'll see you next week right here on the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch.